Hey guys, this is Elder Scroll and welcome to the channel. Today is my Magic Dragonknight 1vx build. I use this in all PvP content. I love this build. It's kind of like an older meta setup, but slightly modified. So this is really good. I use it in Battlegrounds, Imperial City, Cyrodiil, duels. It's really bursty, but can also last for long fights. And I really like this build, so I'm going to share it with you guys today. So I'm going to go into the stats. So on my back bar, my defensive stats, I have 31,000 spell resistance and 29k physical resistance, and 2,200 crit resistance with 36,000 health and 27k magic. And the defensive stats are actually the same on both bars, and I'll explain that when I get to the gear. And then if I go into my offensive stats, which are not, I do not have offensive stats on the back bar, that's only on the front. So 5,800 weapon spell damage with 29 crit chance and 12k pen. The pen goes up because of debuffs, and it's not really a crit, it's not a crit damage build, so it only has 2% crit damage on top of the base 50%. And then, like I said, let me rebuff. Like I said, there's still the same defensive stats, 31,000 spell resistance, 29k physical resistance, and 2,200 crit resistance, even on the front bar. So you're able to be tanky while you're, like, attacking. So I think that's really important, especially for a 1vx build. So 46 points in a magic, 18 in a health. And then I am using the lever. I'm not a vampire on this build, because I don't want to have to struggle with sustain, but you can try it if you want to be a bit tankier. I'm using tri-stat foods, crafted or crown ones, and tri-stat potions. I would recommend using alliance magic potions just because they're more dispensable, and that is because we are using clever alchemist. 2 maces, both sharpened, one with weapon spell damage enchant, one with flame damage. What this does is whenever you drink a potion, you get 651 weapon spell damage for 20 seconds. If you don't want to have to use potions, then you get War Maiden. And War Maiden will give you, I think it's roughly the same, but it's passive. I think it's a little less. It's more like 600 or maybe 500, and it's passive. And on the back bar, I'm using the vatashran staff. This is one of the reasons why this can also last in long fights. It's just a wicked strong damage over time that increases by 1% every second. This does elemental damage, and it's an ice staff. Then I'm using Gaze of Sithis. So this is how I'm able to be tanky on both bars, even when I'm dealing damage. I've heard a lot of people say that the block is important, but I think it's more important to be able to survive while you're dealing damage. So this gives you 4,000 armor, 1,000 health recovery, and 3,000 max health. But you can't block. So with this build, you're gonna have to get a little more used to roll dodging if that's not your thing. I usually play a Dragonknight bomber, so I'm used to blocking instead of roll dodging. So that's been a little bit of a change, but it works the same. So you're gonna have to get used to that with this build. And then I'm using Clever Alchemist, and then Burning Spell Weave. This increases your weapon spell damage by almost 500 for 8 seconds every 12 seconds. And this procs off dealing flame damage. So since this is a Dragonknight build, you're going to be dealing a lot of flame damage. So it's going to be up for the majority of the time. So then just Burning Spell Weave. You want pretty much everything Divines or Impen, with maybe some reinforced for bigger pieces. And then I have one piece of trainie just for max health. And one reduced spell cost enchant, and the others are weapon spell damage enchants. Now in the skills, I'm using Temporal Guard in the back bar for passive 5% damage reduction. Coagulating Blood, this is like the biggest heal in the game, or biggest single target heal. There's a resistance buff, a shield, and a damage over time. Resolving Vigor, there's just a heal and a resistance buff. Igneous Weapons, this gives 20% weapon spell damage for a minute, or for 1.2 minutes. And it procs this passive, which increases your weapon spell damage by a further 10%, so it's 30% total when you activate that. And then Elemental Drain, this procs the vatashran staff This is going to do all the elemental damage. And then Ferocious Leap. This is more for defensive purposes because of the huge damage shield. And it's cheap, so you can use it a lot, but it also deals a ton of damage too. Molten Whip, this is the spammable. It also can increase your weapon spell damage by up to 300 and increase the damage of your next whip whenever you use other abilities by 20%. So that's really good. It's a huge spammable, and it costs both stats, so it's good for sustain. This is just a stun. This increases their damage taken by 5% and does damage over time. Chains of Devastation. This is a pull. I don't know why I don't see a pull in more builds, because it's, I think, really important. It also gives you a speed buff and 10% damage done. I don't know why builds don't use this that often, but this is great, especially for Battlegrounds, to get around. Like, the difference, you could get like 20 kills in a Battleground if you don't have a pull, and you could get like 40 plus if you're able to get around really quickly. So I think that's important. Also when you're chasing people. And it's a good counter for sorcerers who are trying to escape. And Flames of Oblivion, this is just crit chance and damage over time. Well, direct damage over time. And then in the champion points, I'm using Master at Arms, Wrathful Strikes, Ironclad, and Resilience. And then in the red, Survival Instincts, Pain's Refuge, Sustained by Suffering, and Fortified. And then in the green, Rationeer, Liquid Efficiency, Gifted Rider, and Steed's Blessing. Just like food and potion stuff, and then mobility things. And then, is that everything? Yeah, that's everything for the build. So now I'm gonna go show you my outfit. So this outfit took me a long time to assemble. I had to get all these different pieces. I kind of had it planned out a little bit. So this is all the stuff. And also, I want to say thank you guys for 500 subs. I mentioned that in my last couple videos, but I really appreciate it. I didn't think I'd make it this far. I just kind of started this channel as a competition with a friend to see who could get to 100 first, but you guys have helped me go above and beyond. And I really like, I love like when you guys comment and stuff. I love responding, and like, I love the community. And I always respond to comments. I'll get back to you if you have any questions. And yeah, I really enjoy making these videos, and I hope you enjoy watching them and like these builds. For these dyes, I'm using Void Pitch, Bloodroot Wine, and Divine Gold for the colors. And you can switch it up any way you like, but this is just what I'm using. And then I'm going to talk about a guild that I started. I just started this a couple days ago, so I'm the only member currently. It's called Vicious Dëath. It's a guild for bombers. There's a Vicious Dëath guild on PlayStation servers as well. This is the Xbox North America one for Vicious Dëath. So if you're a bomber and you want to learn how to bomb, then join the guild if you're on Ebonheart Xbox North America server. And that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know if you use the build, and let me know if you have any questions. And yeah, thank you.